Hello guys, good afternoon and welcome to Example. Good afternoon everyone. Please join the session and share this session as much as possible. Today we will discuss a new topic that is called the eco-sensitive zone. This topic came into the news after the verdict of the Supreme Court and recently the Kerala government or the Legislative Assembly of the Kerala passed a bill that is change some decision that change the direction of the that can exempt the Kerala from the direction of the Supreme Court. So this is very important section for upcoming environment examination or the upcoming examination which are related to the UPSC or which are related to the civil services examination. So we will discuss this topic as whole. That means this topic is very important for us. So eco-sensitive zone, what is the context? Why we are going to study this topic today? The context of this topic is that the Kerala Assembly State Assembly has passed the resolution regarding the Supreme Court's directive regarding ecologically sensitive zone. Recently the Supreme Court of India has passed a verdict that all the eco-sensitive zone should be undisturbed area, and all the other activities like the economical activities or the human intervention can be restricted at this area in very sharp manner. So the Kerala government decided that it is not feasible at in some states like the particular Kerala, because the Kerala has a different terrain and the different terrain is covered with the different density of the population. So it is not possible to follow the rules at the same rule in the entire nation. That is why the Kerala Assembly passed this resolution in the Legislative Assembly. So we will look all the entire issue. What is the entire issue and what is the basic concept of the environment? So by this news, with this news, we will cover what is the actually eco-sensitive zone. What is the basic concept of the eco-sensitive zone? Under which act this eco-sensitive zone concept has been come. Some committees has been mentioned this eco-sensitive zone, like the Kasturi Rangan committee. Okay, so TSR Subramaniam committee. So we will discuss this committee. So in this session we will discuss what is the eco-sensitive zone, why on which basis this eco-sensitive sensitive zone has been declared, what is the definition of this eco-sensitive zone, how much area are under the eco-sensitive zone at the present time in the country, and what is the role of the eco-sensitive zone, why this eco-sensitive zone is important for the environmental perspective. So we will discuss these things in the today's session. So I request you to please share this session and join this session. This session will be very fruitful for you. So we will discuss the eco-sensitive zone. So first point, why we are going to study? The context is clear. I think context is clear. The second, what is the issue? What is the issue arising there? First is about the issue. The Supreme Court directed what is the verdict of the Supreme Court? Supreme Court directed that all states to have a mandatory 1 kilometer eco-sensitive zone from the demarcated boundaries of every protected forest land, national parks and the wildlife sanctuary. Every protected forest land. So this is the verdict of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court given the verdict that every state should declare the 1 kilometer of the fragile zone, which is termed as the eco-sensitive zone, from the all reserved, all the protected area. From all protected area, you have to declare the 1 kilometer fragile zone, that is termed as the eco-sensitive zone. So it is very important, and this is the universalized verdict, and it cannot be possible to implement at the every level, at the every state, because the condition at the every level or the every state is the different. All the protected area are not under all the protected area the condition of the all the protected areas are not same. So you cannot implement the same rule in everywhere. So it is very it has some issues. So we will discuss the issues. What are the basic issues? So this is the verdict of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has the directed to every state. Following this, the Kerala State Assembly passed a resolution urging the centre to exclude the state's human habitation, farmlands and the public institution from the eco-sensitive zones purviews. So Kerala government, because this is this verdict is will be implemented for the entire nation. For the entire nation, the power of the rule formation or the law formation has the parliament has the power to implement or to create a rule for the entire nation. So Kerala government or the jurisdiction of the Kerala government is not to pass any rule which are implementable at the entire nation. So Kerala government has the pass a resolution, and that resolution urging to the central government that you have to establish a law which can exempt these institutions like the farmlands, public institutions and the state's human habitation from the eco-sensitive zones purview. So I think you are getting what I am trying to say, that the Supreme Court give the permission, that means Supreme Court give the direction, that means it should be implementable in the entire nation, and the lawmaking formation or the lawmaking power has for the entire nation has the parliament. So Kerala government has urging the central government. The second, what is the issue of the Kerala? Why the Kerala is concerned about this? What are the concern about the Kerala about this verdict? Because we should look what are the concern of the Kerala about this verdict. The first thing, issues of the Kerala around the eco-sensitive zone. Why the Kerala is very concerning states? First, concern of the Kerala stated that any regulatory mechanism on the land and the land use pattern would have the political ramification. If you have any mechanism, so it is a political ramification. That means it has the political complexities. Ramification means the political complexities. So if you are going to protect any area, then that area is a geographical boundary. That area has a geographical boundary. But states has the political boundary. If you understand the concept of the front and the boundary, then there is a political ramification came, and that political ramification could not be that because of that political ramification, the state could not arrive or could not reach at any particular any conclusion, and that is why this create hurdles to implement this type of the rules. So this complexity will stop this type the implementation. This complexity will create the hurdle to implement this type of the rule at the any state. So Kerala's the first concern is that there is a political ramification which will arise for to the implementation of this particular direction of the Supreme Court. The next is that nearly 30% of the Kerala is the forested land, and the Western Ghat occupies the 48% of the state. Western Ghat is a eco-sensitive zone. According to the Kasturi Rangan Committee, Western Ghat is the eco-sensitive zone, and the 48% of the total land area of the Kerala is under the Western Ghat. If any state has the 48% area of under the eco-sensitive zone, then the resources of the land resources will be the less into the ratio of the population. So population ratio and the land mass and the population ratio will be reduces, and that will be very land mass and the population ratio will be increased, because you have the less land mass for the general purpose, and the population has you have the more population. Then how it is possible to fulfill all the requirements of fulfill the requirements of the population of that particular state. So it is very tough for the Kerala, because Kerala has the nearly 30% of the Kerala forested area, and the Supreme Court directed that every forested area or every protected area should be covered under this direction. So it is very tough for the Kerala. and the Western Ghat occupies the 48% of the total landmass. So this leaves the little space for the 3.5 crore population to occupy. If any state has an area, suppose this state, this is the Kerala. Kerala has the area, X amount of the area, and the approximate 50% of the area is under the protected area. So protected area means there is a human intervention is very less. And one guide has come that one direction has come that you have to leave the at least to 1 kilometer area, 1 kilometer fragile area, and 1 to 10 kilometer fragile area around this protected area. That means your land mass will be reduces, the land surface for the general purpose will be reduces, and that will improve the burden of the remaining land masses. So the utilization of these land masses will be also affected, and the population has the less amount of the land mass for the using for the general purpose. So it is very tough for the very tough direction for this type of the state in the nation. So Kerala has the urging to the central government, the first thing. Okay, the first concern, I think you have you understand the concern of the Kerala first concern. The second, the topographic differences. There are several habitat types like the mountains, grassland, forest, and the ocean, but the order does not mention that. Okay, so population density is not same at everywhere. Population density is not same at the mountainous region and the plain. The plain has the more population density and the mountainous region has a relatively less population density, and that is why you have to clarify some specific region. The Supreme Court's guidelines should be clarified at the particular region, and you have to create the different law, or you have to create the different direction for the different regions, because the condition is not same. If the condition is not same, then you cannot implement the same rule at the entire particular places. So it is not feasible. So it is a drawback of this guideline or this direction of the Supreme Court. The settlement around the protected areas. In the case of the Kerala, there are the presence of the high density of the human population near the notified protected areas. In the Kerala, a large amount of the population is reside at the margins of at the adjacent region of the protected areas. If you implement this rule, if you implement this direction of the Supreme Court, you have to rehabilitate the more number of the population from their native place to another place, and it would take many complexities like the administrative complexities and the economical complexities. So it is not an easy task to rehabilitate to any person from that particular region to another particular region. So it is it would be very hectic for the state, or it would be very hectic for the state governments. So it is very tough task. In the Kerala, the terrain is different. If the terrain is different, to rehabilitate from one person to one region to another region, it is very tough task. So I think these are the main concern of the Kerala. The concern of the Kerala's the farmers. Kerala's farmers' concern is the lives of the thousands of the farmers on the sanctuary fringe is spread over the 6 villages would be badly affected. Okay, the sanctuaries. In the sanctuaries, there is a human activities are permitted. If the human activities are permitted, that means the some people which are residing near that sanctuaries has the dependency on that sanctuaries. They are dependent for the economical purpose on that sanctuaries. They are dependent on that particular sanctuary for the another regions. They have dependent on the more minor forest producers. So if that farmers are betrayed from that particular rights, then it would be affect their lives. So it is very difficult. So lives of the thousands of the farmer will be affected. Also, the farmers would not be able to use their land and the trees planted without the permission of the forest official. If any particular region has been declared as the economic sensitive zone, That means the government has put the prohibition, that the government has the restricted this particular area. If you want to use the resources of that particular area, you have to take the permission from the official, the forest official or the related authority or the concerned authorities. So it is very tough task that you cannot use your forest, you cannot use that particular land surface, you cannot use that particular land surface in which you are using for last some decades or the some time. If this direction would be implement, then the some or the many farmers would be displaced from that particular land surface, and then they cannot entertain, they cannot perform that activities like the agricultural activities and other activities. So this is the main concern. The construction of the roads, houses and all other developments activities in the eco-sensitive zone would be affected. Okay, so suppose that this region is the protected area. Protected area, what is the protected area? We will discuss in the next slide. If this protected area and this area are the usable area for the general purpose and the farmers are doing the farming in this region, if this guideline will implement that the 1 or the 10 kilometer area is will be declared as the eco-sensitive zone. If the eco-sensitive zone is declared, then the eco-sensitive zone has some prohibition, some restrictions are there. If you want to use this land after the declaration of the eco-sensitive zone, you have to take the permission from the authorities. So the land which are using by the which were using by the farmers as the usual manner, as the traditional manner, but now after the declaration you have to take the permission from the authorities. So it will take the time, it will take the other complexities. So it is very tough task to farmers, and all the farmers and the people we are who are living in this circle or in this zone will be affected. Okay, I think these are the concern. Now you understand what is, I think you understand what is the concern, what is the context of the eco-sensitive zone, why this eco-sensitive zone came into the picture, came into the limelight, and this background has been clear. Okay, now what are the eco-sensitive zone? What are the eco-sensitive zone? Eco-sensitive zone, in general condition, you have to understand that what is the eco-sensitive zone. Eco-sensitive zone means the zone which are around the protected area, and this area is declared as the eco-sensitive zone because it is treated as the shock absorber. Shock absorber means the area which are under the threat, which has been declared as the protected area, and the area which is in general condition, then we should create a buffer zone. If any problem will happen, then this area will protect these particular protected areas from the any loss. So it is treated as the shock absorber, it is treated as the buffer zone which can protect this particular area from the outside threats. This can protect the that particular area from the outside threats. So it is regulated by the authorities. If this area regulated, if any mishappening will happen, then it will be protected, and we will curb this area, we will control in this particular area any mishappening or any threat. If any threat will arise, we will control this threat in this particular area. That threat will not arrive in this region. So for this purpose, we have declared the eco-sensitive zone. What is the technicality of this eco-sensitive zone? We should know about as per the National Wildlife Action Plan 2002 to 2016. We have a National Wildlife Action Plan which are for the tenure of the 2002 to 2016. The land within the 10 kilometer extended of its application can vary. Of the boundaries of the national parks and the wildlife sanctuaries are to be notified as the eco-fragile zone or the eco-sensitive zone. That means the area under the 10 kilometer around this protected area. This is the protected area, the area under the 10 kilometer. These are called the eco-fragile zone, or it is also called the eco-sensitive zone. Eco-fragile zone or the eco-sensitive zone. Okay. Areas beyond the 10 kilometer can also notified by the union government as the eco-sensitive zones if they hold the larger ecological important sensitive corridors. That means according to this action plan, in general condition, the eco-sensitive zone are the zones which are adjacent region up to 10 kilometer from any protected area like the national park and the wildlife sanctuary. But this protection area can be extended on the recommendation of the central or by the central government on the basis of the importance of the ecosystem or the ecological importance. So if any particular area required the more eco-sensitive zone, then central government can declare the more eco-sensitive zone beyond the 10 kilometer. So it is not fixed. It can be expandable more than or the beyond to the 10 kilometer. So you have to understand this thing, eco-sensitive zone. What is the technical definition according to the National Wildlife Action Plan 2002-2016? In the section 1, the definition of this eco-sensitive zone, which laws, which act has the associated with this eco-sensitive zone, you should know about, because this point is very important for your prelims examination. So in the perspective of the prelims examination, this is very important, and the perspective of the mains, it is also important because of this Supreme Court's verdict. So section 3 of the Environment Protection Rule gives the power to the central government, that is the Union Ministry of the Environment and the Forest, to take all measures that it feels are necessary for the protecting and improving the quality of the environment and the prevent the control environmental pollution. The act which give the power to the central government to establish to create the such type concept, to establish the such type rules, which gave the power, the section 3 of the Environment Protection Act 1986. Under the Environment Protection Act 1986, the central government has the power to came with such type the concept to protect the environment or the ecology of any particular region of the nation. Okay, so this provide the base or this provide the ground for the formation of this. However, the Environment Protection Act 1986 does not mention the word eco-sensitive zone. So you understand that this provide the background for the formation of the eco-sensitive zone concept, on which under the section 3, in the section 3, the central government has the power to form the law, to form any concept for the protection of the environment and the ecology of any region or the entire nation. So eco-sensitive zone word does not mention in the Environment Protection Act 1986. Okay, so it has introduced on the basis of this act, but it does not mention this eco-sensitive zone. This is very important thing. In the prelims examination, it can be asked that the eco-sensitive zone is mentioned in the Environment Protection Act. So it is false statement. Eco-sensitive zone is not mentioned in the Environment Protection Act. On the basis of the section 3 of the Environment Protection Act, eco-sensitive zone concept has been come. So you know about this. Beside the Rule 5.1 of the Environment Protection Act 1986, states that the central government can prohibit or restrict the location of the industries carry on the certain operations or the processes on the basis of the certain consideration. Okay, so central government has power under the rule of the 5.1 that the central government can prohibit any activities or it can permit any activities after the consideration. So central government has the power. To meet this objective, the government can restrict area in which any industry's operation or the process or the class of industries operation or the process shall not be carried out subject to certain safeguard. So on the basis of this power, central government can restrict any particular activities and particular region, or the central government has power to allow any particular activities at this region. So central government has power. On that, central government exercises central government, if the central government want, then central government can exercise this power. Central government can exempt any particular region or the exempt any activities from the eco-sensitive zone, or central government can prohibit any particular activity in the eco-sensitive zone. So eco-sensitive zone, the concept of the eco-sensitive zone or the concept of the eco-sensitive zone has come from this particular acts or that particular power. So central government has the power. Supreme Court has guided, the Supreme Court has given the direction. Okay, but central government has the power. If the central government want, then central government can exempt some activities which is recommended by the Kerala government. If the Kerala Assembly has recommended some activities should be exempted from this direction, then central government has power to exempt that activities. Okay, so this is important thing. The sixth one, however, the section 3(2) of the Environment Protection Act says that the central government can restrict area in which any industry's operation or the process class industry's operation. That the same thing which I have discussed. The seventh one, the government came up with the concept of the eco-sensitive zone on the behalf of this act or this power. The same criteria have been used by the government to declare the no development zone. So there is a two concept, that is the eco-sensitive zone and the no development zone. No development zone, that is the area which are prohibited by the entire economical activities or the entire modern development activities. So you cannot build any extra infrastructure or the modern infrastructure that particular area which has been declared as the no development zone. So central government declared two areas like the eco-sensitive zone and the no development zone on the exercising of that particular power that has been given in 1986 Environment Protection Act, which has been passed by the Parliament of India. Okay, so this is the what is the concept of the eco-sensitive zone. I think you are getting my points. Okay, what is the concept of the eco-sensitive zone? Eco-sensitive zones are notified under the Environment Protection Act 1986. This is a very valid point. This is a very important point. You have to take this point into your account, in your mind. It can be asked in your examination, in the prelims examination. So you have that it is notified under the Environment Protection Act, but in the Environment Protection Act there is a no word that is there is a no word of the eco-sensitive zone. So eco-sensitive zone is not mentioned in the Environment Protection Act, but concept of the eco-sensitive zone is derived from on the basis of the Environment Protection Act. We have discussed the acts. We have discussed the sections under which the environment protection under which the eco-sensitive zone has been come. Okay, so what are the significance of the eco-sensitive zone? Why this? Why the requirement of the eco-sensitive zone? What is the requirement of the eco-sensitive zone? Why we declare any zone as a eco-sensitive zone? What is the significance? Why this concept is very important for us? So we should know. Eco-sensitive zones helps in the in situ conservation. What is the in situ conservation? In situ conservation, as you know, when we conserve any particular biodiversity or any particular region, there is two methods of the conservation. The first one is the in situ conservation, and the second one is the ex situ conservation. The in situ conservation method is the protection of any particular species or the protection of any particular species in their natural habitat. If you protect any particular species in their natural habitat, then such type of the protection is called the in situ conservation. If you protect any species from away from their native species, native particular region or the native habitat or the original habitat, then such type of the method of the conservation is known as the ex situ conservation method. So if we protect any area, for the conservation of the species which are found in this particular region, then such type of the conservation is known as the in situ conservation. Such type conservation is known as the in situ conservation. If this particular area is protected and unfortunately, if this region will face any threat, and like the any disease, like the forest firing or any threat which are maybe anthropogenic, which are maybe might be anthropogenic or natural. If the threat has captured this particular region, the threat has come in this particular region, then it will lose the biodiversity of this area. So for the protection of this particular region, if we declare the some buffer zone, if we declare some shock absorber, if any threat come, we will control that particular threat in this region. Then this region would be safe. Then this particular region would be safe, and the protection of this particular species or the species found in this region will be continue. So for the purpose of this particular in situ conservation, we declare the eco-sensitive zone. Okay, so it will help in the in situ conservation, which deals the eco conservation of the endangered species in the natural habitat. So what is the in situ conservation, you understand? And why this eco-sensitive zone is required? What is the significance? If the eco-sensitive zone has been declared, then the protected area can be safe, could be safe. Okay, so ESAZ are created as the shock absorber. This is created as the shock absorber for the protection of this particular protected area. Okay, so it is termed as the fragile ecosystem. This is also termed as the fragile ecosystem. Okay, so it is the second significance. The first significance. The next is the biodiversity and the climate change are the interconnected. Biodiversity and the climate change are the interconnected. If the biodiversity loss is continue, then it will affect the climatic change. And if the climatic change is continue, then it will affect the biodiversity loss. That means the both are related, both are the directly related to each other. So we should protect the biodiversity as well as the climatic change. So if we protect the biodiversity, then it would be help to control the climatic change. So both will create the adverse effect on the human being. For the protection of the human being, we should control the climatic change, and we should control the biodiversity loss. So for the purpose of the biodiversity conservation, we should create the eco-sensitive zone. Okay, the creation of the eco-sensitive zones may help in the reducing the rise in the temperature. Okay, so if we protect the some extra area, then this particular area will be filled up with the natural things or the natural ecosystem, and that natural ecosystem will protect from the economical activities or the modern economical activities. If the modern economical activities will be prohibited at that particular region, that will be help to control the global warming, that will be help to control the climatic change. So biodiversity loss or the biodiversity conservation will also help in the climatic change, to control the climatic change. Okay, so this is a very important thing. The tribal rights will also protected with the recent judgment, that is that their culture, diversity, etc. will be preserved. Eco-sensitive zone, or the some community of the nation or the some community want to live in their native place, like the tribal community. Tribal communities are very strict with their traditions. The tribal communities does not want to change their tradition. They want to live their tradition. So they are very rigid for their tradition. And if you are going to develop that particular region, that their tradition will be lost, and they does not want at any cost that they will lose their tradition or they will away from their traditions. If you protect that particular region, then it will help to control, it will help to protect the customs and the tradition of that tribal areas. The tribal communities want to depend on the natural resources. The tribal communities want to depend on the forest areas. They are very familiar. They are the they has the symbiosis, they has the symbiotic relation with their environment. So they want to live that particular environment. So if you create the eco-sensitive zone, that will help in the tribal, that will help to the tribal communities. So they also want to such type of the concept. They also want to some rights in the forest on the and that is why the Indian government has came with an act that is called the Forest Right Act 2006 for the tribal communities. So it is very important for the protect these the rights of the tribal peoples. So this eco-sensitive zone has the advantage that this eco-sensitive zone has the significance for the tribal communities. Tribal communities is community which want to live with their original custom. They want to live their particular traditional way. Okay, they does not want to change. Like if any tribe is living nudely, if any tribe is want to living the traditionally they are living nudely, like the Jarwa tribe in the Andaman Nicobar island, so they does not want to wear a cloth because that is the custom of that particular tribe, that is the tradition of that particular tribe. They does not want to change. So if you are going and you want to, they can wear the cloths, then they cannot accept you. They could not be accept you as in the easy way. They also want to stick with their customs. So these are the significance. You understand what are the significance of the eco-sensitive zones. So next is what is the protected areas? What is the protected areas? Chandan Kumar, hi sir. Hello. Chandan, please comment that are you getting my points? Are you able to understand whatever I am telling here? No. So now the no protected areas. What is the protected areas? The protected areas means the most of the problem has arisen after the intervention of the human being in the natural habitat, or the intervention of the unscientific intervention of the human being. If the human being scientifically intervene in any particular natural habitat or any natural region or with the nature, then this would not be create any problem. But when we interact unscientifically, when we exploit the resources of the natural resources unscientifically, then it will create the unbalanced condition, and the unbalanced condition will create the problem. So human being at the in the last 2 centuries, the human being created the things in very unscientifically. The human being exploited the natural resources very unscientifically, and which is caused for the many problems like the environmental issues. All the environmental issues are arising for the arising by the human being factors or the anthropogenic factors, because human being use the nature unscientifically. So if you want to protect any area, you firstly you understand which factors that affect this particular area, and you want to remove or you want to make away that particular factor from this particular region. So here the factor which affect the nature is the human being. If you want to protect any particular region, then you can you firstly away the human being from that particular protected area or that particular area. So protected area means where the human intervention or the human interaction is very limited or the very guided or the very regulated. So what is the protected area? Protected areas are the areas in which the human being or the human being activities are regulated or the prohibited. That particular area is termed as the protected area. So now we know about the areas in which the human occupation at least the exploitation of the resource is the limited, because human being is the factor which can affect, which can degrade the environment, which can degrade the nature. So you have to find out which factor has the effect, and if you away that factor from that particular area, then you can save that particular area. So same thing is happen here. The human being is the more important factor to affect the nature. So firstly, if the activities of the human being can be restricted or can be regulated, then we can save the particular region. That this is the protected area. The prohibited activities. Which activities are completely prohibited in this particular protected areas? Activities like the commercial mining, HEFCs, hazardous waste production activities, tourism, such activities which can which can adversely affect the particular region, then these activities are completely prohibited in this region. The allowed or the regulated activities, some activities are the completely prohibited. You cannot perform that activities in this particular region. Some activities are allowed but in the regulated manner. Okay, so some activities are allowed but in the regulated manner. So tree cutting, establishment of the hotels, resorts, change in the agri system, pole erection, etc. These activities are allowed but under the guidance of the forest official or under the guidance of the related concerned authorities. So these are the allowed activities, but these activities are the highly regulated. And the next one is the permitted activities. Some activities are the permitted in this particular protected areas, like the ongoing agriculture or the horticulture practices, rainwater harvesting, organic farming. These activities which cannot adversely affect the nature, that activities are allowed in this particular region. But in the some protected area like the national park, all the activities, all the human activities are the prohibited or the banned. Okay, so there are three type of activities. Some activities are completely prohibited, some are the regulated, and some are the permitted area in the protected areas. So I think you understand, you are getting what I am telling, that the learning outcomes, the section which we have discussed, that is the first thing, what is the context of the eco-sensitive zone? Why this eco-sensitive zone has come into news? The second thing, what is the concern of the related state? What is the concern of the related state for the eco-sensitive zone? Now, what is the eco-sensitive zone? Next, we have discussed what is the eco-sensitive zone? What are the significance of this eco-sensitive zone? Why this eco-sensitive zone is important? What is the significance of the eco-sensitive zone? What is the eco-sensitive zone? What is the associated laws or the associated acts? Under which act this eco-sensitive zone has been declared? Okay, associated acts. What is the significance, and what is the protected area? Because this eco-sensitive zone is related to the protected areas, because these both are the related concept. The protected, around the protected areas, eco-sensitive zone has been declared, or the eco-sensitive zone is declared. So protected area. Now, what is the way forward for this? What is the way forward for this particular verdict of the particular direction of the Supreme Court? So what is the way forward? Now we should understand the way forward. What is the way forward? The first way forward, way ahead, what is this important thing? Consider the eco-sensitive zones on the case-to-case basis. The first thing is the case-to-case basis. You cannot implement the same rule at the same all the places, because the condition of the different places are different. Conditions of the different places are different. So you have to implement, you have to take the verdict, or you have to take the law according to the requirement of that particular region. You cannot universalize the law for the all areas. So firstly, the government or the central government should bring any law which are related, which has the flexibility for the state state can change this law according to their conditions at that particular region. So it should be implemented as the case to case basis. You cannot be implement the same law at the same all places. So same limit for all the protected areas it is not feasible. It is not fair. So it should be changed. It should be changed. Communities living around the protected areas in the several states should promote the conservation of the eco-sensitive zone. So if the communities are living around the protected area, they should be convert themselves as the nature lover or the nature protector, and they should be guided, they should be taught, or they should be aware by the authorities. That means this will very helpful for you as well. So it is helping for the nature and helping for the communities. So the communities should be aware by the authorities. Afforestation and the reforestation. Afforestation means the plantation at the where is no plants is already present, and the reforestation means the land where the plants was the already present, that particular plants was cutted, and after the plants again here is the forestation. So afforestation means the area which is not has the plants, which is covered by the plant, or you can sample the plants at that particular region. This is called the afforestation. And the reforestation means the area which was covered with the forest, but that particular trees was cutted, and the trees, if the trees was cut, then again the plantation of the plantation is called the reforestation. Promote carbon footprints can be done. So you should promote these type of the activities at that particular region. So this is the way ahead. I think you understand what these things, the eco-sensitive zone. What is the eco-sensitive zone? What is the important things related to the eco-sensitive zone? What is the basic concept of the eco-sensitive zone? So I think you understand. Please share this session. Please do subscribe this channel and like this session and share this session. Thank you so much.